Hans, what did you say? Biscoff cookies?
Crack, baby.
And then Lou, you came with the what?
Nothing wrong with this, bro. Okay, there's nothing
So
wrong with
let me explain the difference to y'all, okay? What Hans is eating right now, that's cocaine. That's that white lady.
Pure.
What you just brought, Lou, that's
Wow.
that's that's literally crack. Okay.
Wow.
That's that put in your vein. That might be heroin, what you just
I
brought
was about to say
right there.
heroin, maybe.
Yeah, that's a
Wow.
little too much.
So
Okay.
that's what happens when
George
you be
Washington
that's
Carver is rolling in his grave right now.
that's
God damn it,
crazy.
Lou.
So
Just telling you,
so
it's a
so
little
this
too
is
much.
that's the result of whipping up in the kitchen.
Yeah, exactly. You got the whipped up. Yeah, yeah, yeah. A little much. A little
That's that
much.
Franklin Saint, you know.
Okay, that's what they put in that
That's
Pyrex
that.
roll.
That's that.
That
That's that blue
Pyrex.
magic.
Hey
Stand
man.
behind it.
I
Guaranteed.
guarantee it.
I think the definition of greatness is to inspire the people next to you. It's not something that lives and dies with one person. It's how can you inspire a person to then in turn inspire another person that then inspires another person. And that's how you create something that I think lasts forever. And I think that's our challenge as people, is to figure out how our story can impact others and motivate them in a way to create their own greatness.
Welcome to the Welcome to the 3-on-3 podcast. I'm your guy Hans, here with my guy Evan. Oh, it's not working today, man. Sorry, Evan, it's not
Yes.
working. Lou has been
Yes.
Lou is triumphant.
Oh.
Oh man.
We're back.
Also here with my main man Lou. What's good, Lou?
Hey man, I'm hoping they gonna finally let me get that thumbs down on it.
Hey man,
That's it.
No,
no.
no.
Hey man, we're still here. We're still here. Everything's the
Uh,
same. Everything's the same here on the 3-on-3 podcast. As always, we have
ah,
the Pod Mamba coaching us from the shadows, making sure we're on point. We
Y'all
have a
look
great
insane doing
show.
these things, man. Y'all really do look insane trying to do these little actions on the Zoom.
Committed,
Y'all need to
committed,
stop.
committed
hey
to the
man.
foolishness.
Hey man, got to.
Committed to the foolishness, man, to the shenanigans. We have a great show in store for you guys today. Trade deadline. Some teams are playing chess, some are playing checkers, some are playing Monopoly. Uh, uh, you know, there's so many different takes. Different teams are doing different things, and it may seem like nobody's on the same page, but we're gonna dive deep into it. It's so many different takes that we can take. We are going to first talk about those we think won it, for a lack of a better term, or those teams that we felt really put themselves in position to really improve by making some type of move from the trade deadline. Now, teams that come into mind are, of course, the one who's brandishing the name and the logo of his team on his chest right now, the Knicks. Brush your shoulder off. If you good, you good.
I'm just wearing clothes, sir. That's all. Just
Hey,
wearing
my
clothes.
Oh,
bad. My
now he
bad.
wants to be coy. All right.
He's just that's just his swag. That's just natural drip for him, man.
Oh
Listen, this
man.
this is it's a great looking blue on me. That's all. Orange tones bring out my orange tones.
I like it. I like it. I like it. So the Knicks, the Mavs, the Bucks, Philly, those are the ones that really kind of make some moves, and we're gonna dive into first to see who really won out of those teams. Now we're gonna, of course, start with on your chest, wearing it on your heart, Ev, the Knicks, and I'm gonna go down and go over the trades that they made. So on this deadline, after making other trades to get OG and send the Maple Mamba back to Canada, the Knicks made a trade with the Pistons to get Alec Burks, Bohan Bogdanovic, and the Pistons. They get Fournier. You finally let Evan go, huh? You let your boy go, man.
There's only room for one Evan on this bandwagon.
Oh man.
Hey,
I'm
I'm
glad
with
I'm
it.
glad you guys set him free. Let
You
set him thank you, because you weren't using him. Goodness
Oh
gracious.
man, along with Malachi Flynn, Quentin Grimes, Ryan. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that last name. With 2 future second round picks and cash considerations. So, Ev, your take. How did your Knicks fare on this trade deadline?
So I got to be honest, I'm very pleased with what the Knicks did, and you spelled it out the right way because you have to look over the trade season as a whole. So we get the early jump New Year's Eve by making the trade for OG Anunoby, solidifies the identity of the rotation, theoretically sets us up for like the next 2 to 3 years of our lineup. But then you get Bojan Bogdanovic, who not only do we get him, we keep him from other teams who are interested in getting him.
Facts,
One like Philly,
facts.
for example. You get Alec Burks shooting a career high 40% from three, 38% on his career. Kind of fills that combo guard role we were looking for when we traded out quickly. And the point that you made was key. We do that all without giving up a single first rounder. So now we have up to 7 first rounders and swaps that we can still use this summer, to go towards max level player if we decide to do so. We could put together a competitive package. We have tradable players, and more important than that, in this season, we got a lineup that when healthy runs 11 deep. And
Mm,
now Tibbs has the moves to, you know, we shuffle however he sees fit 2 through 9 outside of Brunson to get the players who are performing the best for that situation that we're in at that time. It feels real mid '90s Knicks-ish. I'm not gonna lie,
yeah,
where
grinding.
yeah, where the entire roster can grind you down. So I'm definitely excited for what the Knicks did. I think they made the most pronounced moves on the trade deadline. I will say this: if I critiqued Terry Rozier a couple weeks ago for his first few games with the Heat. We're tipping off our second game with the Rockets here shortly. We play on Monday, but Bogey and Alec Burks, the numbers look good intensity wise. They looked a little bit like they were still playing for the Pistons on Saturday night, so
Listen,
it's gonna
man,
take them a little bit to get that intensity up to what we're looking for.
you
But all
freed
in
them.
all, we
You
did.
free you freed them from Detroit, man. Give them time to settle it, man.
Exactly. But yeah, once they settle in, a month from now, I think we'll be looking great. So yeah, I think the Knicks ace this trade deadline.
Yeah, and I think for me, what stands out is exactly what you said in the beginning half of your take is that they didn't give up too much at all. They really stole it, if you want to be honest. They didn't give up too much, and the pieces fit. Every piece they got, I just was like, wow, that makes sense. Like that makes sense. It wasn't
Mhm.
anything that was glaring. It made sense, and they didn't have to give up anything for it. Now I laugh when you were talking about the rotation because Tibbs has a 6 man rotation, man. That's about it. So I do wonder how when it comes towards the playoff time, because that's what you guys are
Mhm.
doing, and you guys are making a push for the playoffs. You see an opening, you see your window is now, and you're taking it, and applaud you guys for being aggressive and doing that. I just wonder how that rotation is gonna come out when it comes to playoff times. But we'll see what happens there. Lou, in regards to the Knicks and the moves they make, did you see anything that kind of stood out for you?
I think it was great. Bogdanovich is probably the greatest pickup I think for them quietly, and bringing a big that can shoot, and then some kind of just like some instant type of offense they can get off the bench, and then be somewhat decent on defense as well, especially when we're gearing up to wait for Randall to get back. So I think that helps them. I mean, and realistically, looking at the depth of the Knicks right now, they're putting themselves in prime position to contend with Milwaukee, with Boston. So I mean, they're really looking to make their push. And then with Embiid being out, why not load up to try to solidify your place above them in terms of seeding going? That's as you prep for the playoff time. Second half of the season is here, so everybody's turning it up a notch. So I think the Knicks, man, they really found a way to put all the pieces together. This is real Ainge like, real McHale like. So what their front office has been doing. So with chagrin, I'm intrigued on what the Knicks are doing. And yeah, I'm saying that this team has probably been the best Knicks team since before the turn of the century. So, and not even to be facetious, I think this is probably the best team that they've had since probably like '99. So, we'll see how it goes, and if they really can turn it up that notch and make a deep playoff run. But yeah, they're definitely loading up for it.
So keeping it on the East, and Lou, since you mentioned it, we'll start it off with you. Talked about the Sixers and the Bucks. So they actually had a little transaction, which was surprising to me. Competitors in the East, the top competitors as well, arguably, and they're making trades with each other during the trade deadline. So we have the Milwaukee Bucks. They received Patrick Beverley from the 76ers for a campaign and a 2027 second round pick.
Yeah,
I did not see that coming. Where do you take it
yeah.
at? Two
I
teams,
mean,
same
yeah,
conference, top. I mean,
yeah. I mean, look, does Milwaukee need any more shooters? Probably not. So what they're looking for is one of the things they've been lacking so far is defense. And having somebody like Patrick Beverley, I think fits perfectly for them and what they're trying to do in terms of shoring up the defensive side of the ball. That's another great defensive player to put by Thanasis on the floor. So, when you have guys like, hey man, I saw
That's what they
Eurostep the
need,
other
man.
day. Hey,
You did.
Eurostep,
You
you saw the
did.
Sham
the
God? You
The
saw
sham
the
sham
Sham?
god.
god, bro. The
He's the
sham
sham
god.
god. Hey, look,
Listen,
he's earning his keep,
oh, listen, man.
He's
earning
going
his
on the
keep.
and
Assist to
one mix
turnover.
tour.
That's
He's going to
that's
the and one
plus
Look,
and
mix tour soon.
minus.
oh man, but I think that Philly, I'm not sure what Philly was particularly thinking about here, unless they're like, hey, we need some more firepower. Cameron Payne is a decent defensive player. Certainly gives you more offense, more shooting ability than Patrick Beverley. But from some of the stuff that I've been hearing and or reading in terms of the team, the locker room for Philadelphia, Patrick Beverley has kind of made himself a cornerstone of their defense. So with him being gone, I'm going to be curious to see what that then means moving forward. For them as a team, how they look on the defensive side. I mean, not that they've had a particular issue with that this season, but with Embiid being out, I would assume they would want to keep as many hard-nosed defenders on the floor. So I think out of that, Milwaukee definitely won that trade, and we'll see what happens moving forward. But I think those two teams are still trying to figure out what their identity is. One, because Philadelphia with Embiid being out, so they're gonna have to figure out how to retool and how to assess their offense. So that's likely, why they brought in Payne. And like I said, Milwaukee has to hemorrhage. They have to stop the hemorrhaging when it comes to the defensive side. Outscoring people isn't going to be the end all be all for how you have a true championship contending team. So kudos to the next other teams. Man, we'll see how it pans out for them. Especially like I said, back half of the season, everybody's gearing up to kind of solidify what their position will be in the playoffs. So.
Facts, facts. So Ev, man, what are you seeing? What's the rationale behind letting go of Pat Bev?
Well,
Especially at this time, given that Joel's going to be gone for a couple weeks. You need a defensive anchor, somebody to lead you on the defensive side of the ball. What do you think? Do you think that was a little concession from Philly, basically saying that this year may not be it?
no, what I think it was is you got to remember that they brought in Buddy Hield as well, and you got to remember that DeAnthony Melton has been hurt. So I think they look at it as they get him back soon. You bring Buddy Hield into the fold, and so between them and Maxi, who's obviously blossoming, that's who's going to get the lion's share of your guard minutes. I think that you get Buddy Hield acclimated. You hope that Embiid makes it back before the playoffs, and you try to recreate some of that chemistry that Embiid had with Seth Curry 2-3 years ago before they traded him to Brooklyn. You try to recreate some of that with Buddy Hield. So I think that was their mindset. Pat Beverly, yeah, he brings you intangibles from a defensive intensity standpoint, but he's got a podcast. I don't want any smoke, but if
Why
Pat
not? Let's
Beverly
go.
is listen, man, I'm in the mode of Zen right now. If Pat Beverly is getting a large percentage of your on the court guard minutes, um, there's a shelf life on that. And so I think he served his role for Philly from a beginning of the season culture setting standpoint. And I think
Mhm.
that's what he'll do with Milwaukee now. As you see, what you saw the memes and stuff where it's like he's been there 5 minutes,
He's coaching.
and he's coaching already, right? That's exactly what they need right now. They need somebody to bring some defensive accountability. I think he's provided that for Philly already. And so now, okay, let's get somebody in here who can actually play the game of basketball for 20 to 30 minutes. So
Okay.
no shade, Pat, but that's not getting it done playoff time.
I mean, you're right. You're right. And we want all the smoke, man. We don't run from it over here. But yeah, it was surprising. I guess just given that they're both contenders, but I also do get your point. Buddy Hield is there, although Buddy's not defensively, as stout as Patrick Beverly is, but he does bring a different dimension to it. Um, I just wonder with MB being gone and just it being kind of a little rocky right now, if that's not going to add any more disruption to it, right? But you are right. You can only go so far with Pat Beverly as your starting guard. I will only
You
get you.
missing.
That only get
I
you
was just
thus
gonna say
far.
you missing 36 points a game. You need to recover
Yeah.
that more than you need somebody
Yeah.
that's an agitator at point guard.
All right. No, you're not. You're definitely not wrong at all. All right, yo. So those were the two big ones, but there were some other teams that made some moves as well too. So I want to hear you guys' take, and you guys can go however you want to. I'll let you guys talk about. But the Mavs did make some, interesting moves. The Mavs received PJ Washington, and they also added. I want to know who he
Da-
got.
Daniel Gafford from
Mhm.
It was
the
a pick.
Wizards.
Okay, yeah. I wanted to see if there was a pick or Rashawn Holmes as well. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wasn't sure if it was just a pick or if it was somebody else. So what do you think? It was basically the Mavericks received Daniel Gafford and the Wizards received Rashawn Holmes in a 2024 first round pick from the Mavs via the Thunder. So it has to go via the Thunder as well. So the Mavs are kind of making moves as well to kind of solidify their core. Their biggest Achilles heel, though, hasn't necessarily been talent, but been availability. Kyrie hasn't been on the court. He's been dealing with some knick-knack injuries there. Luka had a little injuries as well, too. So does this move give them the solidified 6th seed, maybe, in the West, given how contested the West is? Does this move the needle? Or is it just more of the same for the Mavs? I'm sorry, given that the Suns are surging, even Golden State is playing better right now, 7 of 3 over the last 10. The Lakers are playing better as well too. Does this really move the needle? Does it do the same for the Mavs, or are they just destined to be that 6 through 8 kind of squad, if that?
I'm gonna give you could call it a hyperbole take if you want to. I think these moves make the Mavericks the scariest team in the West right now. Not right now, the scariest team in the West, period. Here's where I'm coming from with
Wow,
this.
Jesus!
I will argue is as
I gotta get a
great.
sip of water. Go ahead, man. My bad.
Sip
Wow.
sip you some water. Listen to me. As great as Shea Gilly has been, as great as Jokic is, I would argue that Luka Doncic is either the best player or the best playing player in the West right now. You take Daniel Gafford, who is a competent defender, a rim running center. He's the adult version of Derek Lively, if that makes sense.
And
So
I was
you
just about to
have
bring up. See, I was about to
yeah.
bring up Lively
Yeah, so
because
you now have 40 48 minutes of exactly what that team needs at the center position. You take PJ Washington. PJ Washington is interesting to me because I followed his career since Kentucky. He came behind Julius Randle. Um, I've always considered him kind of a Randall light type player. Not quite as big, not quite as bulky, a little bit of a better shooter, a little more of a stretch four. Still's got that rim running type uh style to him. You can get the ball to him and he could create a basket, right? So now you have PJ Washington at the four. I think will flourish at the four position on this team because he's not required to do as much, but when the ball gets to him, he can handle his business there.
Mm-hmm.
Gafford, you got Luka playing the best of his career. You got Kyrie when he's healthy playing solid. So now you can run the style of offense that the Mavericks want to play for 48 minutes through either Luka or through Kyrie. You got pieces that fit at the 4 and 5 position. And between Tim Hardaway Jr. Having a great season at the 3 or as a 6 man, Josh Green that's growing up. This is a West Coast version, I mean a Western Conference version of a team that I think fits now with his pieces. And that's scary to have a team that fits around Luka Doncic. I don't think he's had that since he's been into the league. So I'm on alert with them to see what they look like, what they do in the next 6 weeks of this season.
Yeah, I think also looking at that depth, the depth is kind of scary to, having Lively and Gafford to come off the bench and play off each other is crazy. And in some lineups, you can probably get off having both of them in the game at the same time. So yeah, they've put some solid depth. I mean, you still got Morris that's on the bench, another guy that can give you some offense. PJ Washington, like so I mean, Evan really put it perfectly because now you have a guy not who's no longer having to be the second best player on the team and putting up points and really just be able to ball out uh, freely. And then a guy that you know that can run with both your A and your B team. They have some solid pieces, solid depth, and also a younger team than people really are thinking about. So they're gonna have some time really to build with each other and don't let Luka and Kyrie be healthy for those next 6 weeks because then it's gonna be a long day in the office playing this team.
So that was going to be my next comment. Does this team, with the move that they made, right, will it be successful in spite of Kyrie? Because Kyrie's always going to be that X factor, right? Given his injury and how he's just, I hate to say it, he's prone to injury. He's been prone to injury throughout his whole career ever since college. So will this, I think, work despite or in spite of Kyrie? Will the Dallas Mavericks kind of have to put contingency plans in place like the Clippers are doing, right? Let's get these stars in place because we know most likely all of them are not going to be healthy when it comes towards the end of the season. So do you guys think that this move will still allow them to be successful if Kyrie does go down? Now, granted, I think it will, just because Tim Hardaway seems to play a lot better. He plays a lot better when Kyrie is not there. The spacing is better. It's still, of course, Luka driving it, but it works better for him. Tim Hardaway Jr., you get more out of him. So I think it does. But before we move on to the next segment, do you guys think it works? Let's say Kyrie goes down. Or is Kyrie just needed for them to really, for this lineup to make sense or this move to make sense?
I think it creates that Kyrie buffer to where what he has is almost like icing on the cake.
You could get away with a game or two with him being injured.
Yeah.
In the playoffs, okay, if he's down 2 games, you know that you have enough. You have enough, and the depth is the biggest thing. Like you mentioned about Hardaway. Or when Kyrie's there, Hardaway is somebody that can come in and run the second unit. But you have a second unit with Gafford or Lively, with Washington, with Hardaway, Green.
Derrick Jones Jr. shooting a career high.
I was about to say,
as well. Yeah.
my guy from DJJ, man, another guy who can run the floor at the forward position. So they have enough to kind of keep but I think they have a better version, right? A better tooled version than the team they had when they made their last playoff run when they had
All right.
Brunson and so on. So
Last thing, sorry. Don't mean to stay too long. Do you think they're going to hurt defensively for losing Grant Williams? Yes or no?
Quit with the jokes, man.
I'm just saying, man.
Did you hear what Grant Williams said today?
What'd he say,
What'd he
Pop
say?
Mama?
Something to the effect of like he was happy winning with Charlotte because they play for the name on the front of their jersey, not the name on the back of their jersey. Maybe a
Ooh.
slight to Luca and
Spicy.
Dallas.
Spicy. Got it. Got it. In reading in between the lines, I'll get more playing time in Charlotte than I will get in Dallas. Got it. Cool. All right.
Took 5 seconds. 5 seconds. Low key, good move for Charlotte as well, though. They need some agitators in their lineup.
I don't know if
They've
I agree
been
because I don't know what Charlotte's doing. I think they're the team I said that's playing Monopoly or Hungry Hungry Hippos or Connect Four.
Trouble. They're playing trouble. They're just
Trouble.
pressing the
Listen,
button.
Risk.
they need a couple people. They need a couple people that care. So I'm not.
Need a
I'm
front
not.
office. Who cares?
I hated it the time it was. I hated it when the trade was made. I don't hate it as much right now. But yeah, you're right as well. I'm sorry. Continue, sir.
You're good. Sticking on the West Coast. Some say it's the best coast. That's up for debate. We have some teams who didn't make any moves, who said, you know what? We're fine. We're good. Who cares that there's smoke all around us and the house looks like it's burning down? We're good here. Everything's fine. Top of mind, you got the Lakers, you got the Warriors, and did anybody really? Okay, so I'll say the Lakers are worse. Some people are saying Denver because they weren't competent or they weren't confident in their young bench, saying that, you know what, they still need to make up Jeff and Bruce not being there. But I still think Denver's fine. They are where they are. I think the biggest names in the West that we were expecting to make some moves were, of course, the Lakers, Golden State Warriors, because, you know, Wiggins was being floated out there. People were talking about Clay, which they weren't going to trade Clay. That contract is freaking huge, et cetera, et cetera. So we're going to start off with, you know, the marquee team, the Lakers.
I love
So
LA.
the Lake Show, you know, the Lakers, they didn't make any moves. They said, you know what, as presently constructed and given what's out there right now, they felt it was best for them to just stay pat. If they didn't make any moves, it'll be in the off season during the summer. What do you guys think? Was this the move? Is this the squad that's going to take us? Now, wait, they did make one move. They did make one move. Dinwiddie. Dinwiddie was acquired. So we'll
The
say
new
that.
big three.
Yes, yes. We saw the poster, man. They're out here. They're out here. That's gonna move for them, I guess. So they did make that
D'Lo,
move.
Spencer Dinwiddie, and Christian Wood back together again from the Brooklyn days.
There we
Hey
go.
man, I
Brooklyn
thought
in
they
the
were gonna go
West.
get Simmons. Why not?
Hey, listen.
Go
Get
get the
Ben.
Aussie.
Ben wants to play. He wants to
He
start.
said he deserves to be a starting player.
Make
He
it
can
happen
start
on the Lakers. I think Darvin Ham will do it. I think Darvin Ham will make Ben Simmons start.
He could fit it, y'all's three.
Y'all
Just
can
saying.
just
point guard.
Y'all can just shut your mouth. Just shut your mouth.
I'm just
Oh,
saying,
man.
man.
You don't think
The
he should be a
Australian
starting
Mamba?
point guard?
No.
Listen,
With the Australian Mamba.
as
That was the
the
next LeBron at one point.
as
wasn't
the
it?
house Laker
Sure
fan
was.
of this podcast, okay, I'll just read these words from our GM Rob Pelinka that kind of describes this whole trade deadline thing for us. Okay, he said, "quote You can't buy a house that's not for sale."
Okay.
So if there's no deal out there that makes sense for the Lakers, then why even go make it if it's not going to help the team?
That's sound. That's sound. But here's my thing too. When your residents of your current house are looking and lusting at other houses, and you know the whole grass is greener on the other side, and are causing a little turbulence in your current residence, shall we keep your metaphor going, one can't help but look to see if other, houses are available or may be for sale. But here's my question though. Here's my question. Given how the West is basically different from last year, it's not last year's West. A couple teams are stronger. How confident, and Christian, I'm asking you, how confident are you in the Lakers as presently constructed to make a title run? It's staying pat, which sometimes, the best move is not making a move, right? In life, sometimes, not making a move may be the best thing for you to do. So, how confident are you guys with your squad presently constructed with the addition of Mr. Dinwiddie to make a title run?
I don't want to take up most of our time here on this episode, so I'll just leave it with this. Be very quick about it. Um, I don't see a team out there that the Lakers can't compete against other than the Denver Nuggets when they actually want to try. And that's the key. That's the keywords. When the Lakers want to try. Because when they're actually focused and want to defend and do all the things that they need to do, they look great. They look like one of the best teams in the NBA. And we saw that in the in-season tournaments, and we saw that against Boston. We saw that against the New York Knicks. There are a lot of instances throughout the season that the Lakers actually turn up and they become focused and play well to the best of their ability. And if they play like that, then there's not really a team that I can see that they can't beat other than the Denver Nuggets because it's just matchup problems with them.
I know I know the good brother P. Diddy is in a lot of trouble right now. And it may not be popular to bring him up, but I'm gonna
The
bring
good
him up.
brother?
I mean, but listen, the brother P. Diddy,
In
love
Christ,
Combs,
in
okay?
Christ,
The
man, in
brother in
Christ,
Christ, all right.
in Christ, man, in
I
Christ,
You
we're
thought his
all
remember
name was.
when
brothers.
I thought his name was Love. Now.
it is
Love,
love,
man.
but I'm not okay. Okay, before I go too far,
Yeah, man.
you
Let's
remember
not let this
when
fall in shambles.
you remember when Diddy made them kids walk to Brooklyn to get some cheesecake and
Mhm.
bring it back to him? I feel like that's what LeBron did to D'Angelo Russell and them boys during this whole trade season with all the innuendo of what he might want and making them prove themselves. But let me tell you something. D'Angelo Russell walked to Brooklyn and he went and got that cheesecake, okay? And he brought it back to Diddy Bron James, okay? Trade season Russell may have changed the
Wait,
trajectory.
hold on.
Yes,
We can't just gloss over the fact
Are you saying, Evan, that
that Diddy,
LeBron
LeBron,
got D'Lo and Rui to face off each other and do a sing off in
he
order to stay
did.
at the
Yes,
house?
yes, like day
And,
26.
and
Yes.
D'Angelo Russell said, although
uh,
we've come
Wow.
to the
he's
end.
like,
And his
he
Yes,
beater.
said,
yes,
at the end of this road, I will not be traded again.
he
Yeah, I
did. He
traded
Wow.
me
did.
once from the Lakers.
He
I
will
will
not
Never
not
trade
even
be.
me
again.
twice. That is exactly what happened. Part of my singing on this podcast. But D'Lo's playing great. We'll see how long it lasts. Austin Reeves has been playing great.
We don't speak about
You
him on Black History Month. Thank
Hey,
you.
listen, yeah, I feel you. I feel you. Listen, all right.
Austin Deshaun
Listen,
Reeves? What are you talking about?
Clearly,
blood pressure cuff
clearly,
Reeves, okay. All right. Playing
Oh,
great.
man.
Make you question why they haven't been doing this all season, two, starting in the backcourt all season. But I say all that to say I kind of do agree with the Lakers from this standpoint. DeJounte Murray wasn't the answer.
no.
Now, what you could possibly say is that this pressure, this focus on DeJounte Murray may have caused them to miss out on some other subsidiary moves that could have helped stabilize them a little more. But it really comes down to your top three players. And their top three players have been basically healthy all season. Anthony
Facts.
Davis, LeBron James, and Austin Reeves. And if D'Angelo wants to be the fourth player in the list, all right, great. That's your top 4 players.
Switch
Y'all
him.
either got to step up or not.
D'Lo's been
Say
better
that
than
again.
Austin. D'Lo's been better than Austin. He's been number
I'm
3.
about to say D'Lo. Yeah, D'Lo
D'Lo's
ain't
been
no
better
good.
than Austin, but Austin Reeves is supposed to be your third best player. So
No,
that speaks to even more to
I've
what
never
I'm
agreed.
saying.
I've never agreed to that mindset.
Okay.
I've always thought D'Lo's
Oh,
the third best player on that team.
I won't fight you on that. Between those 4, though, y'all should have what y'all need to be better. So I understand not making a move that would have been a lateral move and those 4 stepping up. And this summer, y'all have an extra pick now. Y'all can trade 3 picks if you want to, which, listen, every member of Lakers media in the world, like, trade deadline ended at 3. Y'all couldn't wait to 307 to start pointing out the Lakers will now have 3 draft picks that they can go after Donovan Mitchell, Trey Young, and other major stars. We appreciate it, West
Kyrie
Coast
Irving.
media. Y'all have made your point known.
You saw
Now it's
that. You
time to
saw
get
that
it done this
article.
season.
You saw that. You saw that report I sent you earlier today, right? About Trae Young.
Listen, you were not the first
Oh
one to
yeah,
send it.
yeah. I
All
was
right.
about to say.
But Trey Young's
Yeah.
always, every single year, always a trade piece talk.
But it would
It's
make sense
just
why they were so like being bullish about trading DeJounte and the asking price being so high.
Yeah.
Maybe they do want to
so
stay with DeJounte over Trey.
But why do you think these asking prices are always so high for the Lakers?
I don't think they're getting rid of Trey Young for DeJounte Murray. They're not doing it.
Because it's a conspiracy, Evan. That's why. It's a conspiracy
Oh,
around the league
Uh,
since the Chris
here we
Paul
go.
trade in 2012 when the Lakers traded for Chris Paul for Pau Gasol and Lamar Odom on a 3-team trade that was hexed by the league because they got letters from Dan Gilbert and Mark Cuban, among other owners, for the league to step in
why
and
is
axe
that?
this trade.
Why
Because
did they have to act?
they're jealous.
What about that trade made the Lakers so scary?
Chris Paul, Kobe Bryant, and having cap space to go and get Dwight Howard.
It was the cap space, bro. They had enough money to legit go get another superstar. Yeah.
Okay,
Hell
so
yeah, I'd be pissed.
we should be doxxed
Your team,
for being a good team and having
nah,
and being smart about it.
look, New Orleans shouldn't have been owned by the NBA at that time. Sorry.
So
The
owners vetoed it.
NBA gave their GM the power to make any trade they wanted for the team. And then
It's not their fault, bro.
they go back on their word after that
That's
because of basketball
they're the
reasons.
owner. They're the owner. They can choose what the
they didn't
GM
go
does or
back on the
don't.
word.
Because the
They
other owners
exercised their
complained
power.
about it.
They exercise their power as an owner.
Because the other NBA owners complained about it.
If
Right.
if there was another person, if you owned the team, you could have told the NBA F you. I'm the owner. This is what I do. But since the NBA owned the team at the time,
Believe me, I'm in the camp of I thought the Lakers should have sued the NBA after them axing that deal.
To do what?
We bet.
Sue them
We
for
bet
what?
you are in that camp, sir.
Yeah, we're not surprised. To
you
what
would
avail?
have what's it called? You would have contributed to the GoFundMe
Yeah, he would have
for the
crowdfunded
lawyer
that
fees.
trade.
That
Right.
definitely would have sent them a 20 for sure.
Man. Could you? It would have been
Dub
like
is up.
when they used to go around for campaign
Where's Glory Allred
donations,
at? Where's Glory
and
Allred
the
at?
old people be signing checks and sending them in the mail.
Listen,
Person would have been sent
uh,
happily
I don't
dropping it
know.
off at the little
He would have.
mail drop off.
He would have had his clipboard out there talking about.
Yeah,
Listen, I need you to sign this
send this
petition.
petition,
We're going out here
door to
for this
door,
league. So here's
door
my
to
thing,
door.
man.
Hi, we're
Here's
with the the NBA regulation
right,
department.
We need 5,000 signatures so that we can go
right,
forward with a
right.
lawsuit against the other 29 teams of the
Yeah, sue them
NBA
for antitrust.
for the
Antitrust.
malpractice.
Sue them.
Wow. Right.
Hey yo,
Oh man,
hey yo,
that's wild.
yo.
That's wild.
Okay, man.
Here's my thing. Here's my thing, man. I've brought this up before, and maybe it's just me, taking the societal role. Maybe I'm classist. I don't care. Call me what you want. Boo hoo. Okay. Coming from a small market team.
You classist
Boo
motherfucker.
hoo. Call it what you want. Call it what you want. Y'all here eating caviar. We're here PB&J. Okay. Listen, man. Listen.
No one put a gun to your head to root for the Blazers.
I'm from the first free black nation, okay, on this earth. You know what we did when we got our freedom? You know what we did? Our custom is to have soup jumeau, okay? Best soup in the world. Fight me if you want to, okay? Fight me if you want to. And you know why we chose to have that delicacy of a soup? It's because those who were in power said that soup was just for them. It was just for the upper echelon. It was just for the rich folk, those who had money. You know what we did when we got our freedom? Everybody gets soup. Everybody.
In the streets.
Exactly. And you know what the Lakers are doing? They're trying to hoard the soup. They don't want everybody getting the soup. They don't want everybody to win. They don't want no competition. They're trying to put their hands on the scales of competition.
Yeah, we live in a capitalist country. Doggy dog
That's
world.
the problem.
Doggy dog world.
That's the problem. We see where you lean, sir. We see where you lean. You don't support the democracy. You don't support the republic. We see where you lean.
This is democracy.
No. You said it's a dog eat dog. I just want to keep getting fat off your big market Hollywood money. We're not here for it.
Majority voted for y'all to not get Chris Paul. That's a democracy.
I didn't know the majority. I didn't know the majority had to say.
Look, all I know is that
you should have showed up for the special election. Y'all only showed up for the general election.
Look,
right?
It's antitrust. The Lakers should have sued.
Years
and we should have won.
Of thumbing your nose at every other market. This is what happens. It comes back to bite you.
Then you all agree then that there is now a certain aura around the Lakers that the rest of the league don't like. The only teams that actually do business with us is the Wizards.
Those are the worst.
The Wizards and I don't even know who else. Like who else has done more things with the Lakers in the last like 3 years? The Wizards
do business with you guys.
Maybe.
Yeah. New Orleans has done a bit. New Orleans has done a bit.
Yeah.
New Orleans was forced. Yeah, New Orleans was forced to do it.
There's another.
Said they were forced to do it because AD was.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny about the AD trade is that one of the picks that we sent them, they drafted Jackson Hayes with one of those picks. He's the Lakers.
Yeah.
Wow.
See how you laughing, bully?
Yeah, man. But nah, listen.
10 years later, still picking on New Orleans. Listen to how this story came full circle.
They deserve it.
15 years ago, you tried to force New Orleans to give you Chris Paul. And so 10 years later,
it's the least they could do. Yeah.
To give you Anthony Davis.
They could have just given us Chris Paul and just called it an era.
Y'all ain't learned nothing.
They could have just given us Chris Paul and called it an era. They didn't have to. Then the AD thing would never happen.
Just keep getting richer, man. That's what it is.
Exactly. That's what it is.
It's the definition of a bully right there. Second
no
grade through 11th grade.
It's called karma.
Karma.
That's funny.
Everything comes back around.
Your team isn't Alicia Keys. Relax.
We'll take 80 in 4 years, in 6 years.
And then you mad about Buddy Hield because y'all couldn't get the price y'all wanted for Buddy Hield. So y'all could have forced Sacramento to give y'all Buddy Hield. So then you want to try to get the Pacers to give y'all Buddy Hield.
The Lakers have to give up 2 first-round picks.
Man.
2 first-round picks.
Bullies. Y'all try to steal this man from 2 teams.
That's crazy.
The Lakers have to give up 2 first-round picks for Turner and Buddy Hield. Then the Sixers could get Buddy Hield for seconds.
I'm noticing patterns with y'all. Okay, y'all zero in.
Yeah, me too. I've been noticing a lot of patterns. So anyone could get these. Anyone could get these players for expiring contracts and second-round picks, except the Lakers. They got to throw in the first.
Listen, man, I can't have it both ways, bro. Y'all got to struggle somewhere. Y'all got to struggle somewhere.
I'm just glad you guys are agreeing with me finally.
Street.
I'm just glad you guys agree that there's a conspiracy out there against the Lakers.
We never agreed there's a conspiracy. We just said that,
I agree that life is happening. It sucks.
That's it.
We just want to give you the platform to express your privileged frustrations.
In real life, in real life, where you have these owners of these big corporations who avoid taxes, right? Your Bezos, Elon Musk.
Bombers.
Yeah, there you go. they don't pay taxes, right?
Joe Lacobs.
Because yes, but you got to get taxed somewhere else in life. Okay. You got to get taxed somewhere else in life. All right. And historically speaking, the way they're taxed is certain things that we as commoners can do, they can't do, right? The way they live there, we have some freedoms to do. We can walk in certain places, do certain things, blah, 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 blah. And it works out for them because they got money. That's how it is for y'all, man. Y'all got to pay a tax somewhere. I got to pay a tax somewhere.
Right. No, I agree.
And
There should be a tax against these big conglomerates, right? And they should leave the mom and pop shops alone. Family
oh
owned
my
businesses
Lord, here we go.
like
Your
the
mom and pop
Lakers.
shop now? The Lakers? Your mom and pop shop now?
Yeah, we're family owned business.
Jesus. All right.
So
Okay.
are the Yankees. I'm with you,
Yeah,
sir.
here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. The elitists. Elitists unite. Y'all gonna do your little fission thing?
It
Like,
is.
Pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
oh gosh. Anywho, the
I'm
American
fed
dream,
up.
boy.
I'm fed up with these guys.
The American dream. Lou, we need some soup.
I know,
Listen.
right?
We need some soup. All right. So Lakers makes sense though. My concern with the Lakers is honestly what Christian is saying. Historically speaking, if you don't put in the work and get those reps of playing at the high level during the regular season, it typically doesn't work out for you. Also, what does it say about your team or your personnel that LeBron has to have these antics in order to motivate your team? What does that say? Because you can't pull those antics when it comes to the playoffs, right? Or is LeBron betting on himself, which historically it's not a bad bet that he'll put them on his shoulder and glide them through the difficult series on sheer brute force and intellect of his own. I think it's a gamble either way. At the end of the day, I'm not mad that the Lakers didn't make any moves because if we're just talking from a front office kind of aspect, what move is out there that's going to push the needle? And the Hawks weren't going to come off anybody significant like Trae Young. Like if it was a Trae Young, you know what I'm saying? If it was like, hey, Trae Young okay, make that happen. Like make that happen. But it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So there's some other teams that are struggling, and what are we saying about these? We got your Toronto, you got your Utah, you got your Orlando's. What do we talk about the middle pack teams? Well, what about them? Chicago didn't make a move. They said basically
Yeah.
Well,
it is what it is.
Utah sent Kelly Olynyk
They
out.
did send Kelly Olynyk. Let me look at
Yeah.
that.
I
And
was
Agbaji to Toronto.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
Toronto for
Otto
Otto
Porter.
Porter and Cure.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was surprised because I'm not sure what they're trying to do. And I thought that if anybody, they would try to do some business with they would potentially try to do some business uh, with OKC. I thought that might have been because if I'm OKC,
for Giddy or
yeah, I try to go for Laurie. If you remember, I was saying about Bertans, they you know what I mean, they got Bertans up out of there. And if you remember earlier in the season, I was like, man, if I'm OKC, I try to move Giddy, I try to move Bertans, and I try to go for Laurie.
with their first round picks that they're hoarding anyway. So
Yeah, so
just
but I
throw out
mean,
the first round picks.
yeah, so okay, you go get Gordon Hayward.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you gave up man, you gave up Bertans, you gave up Mitchich or Mitchich or whatever.
Mitchich, yeah.
So, and then I think draft picks. Why not make a solid push for Laurie? Utah isn't gonna make a deep run. So I think Laurie would be great, especially because Giddy has been is falling off in terms of being quiet for his team. So, but we'll see what Utah is really trying to do. I'm expecting these teams that have been quiet now, as soon as the offseason comes, for them to start making big moves, especially like those that don't make the playoffs. They probably look to make them. They'll probably look to make some moves pretty much off the rip once their season is over or whenever they're allowed to. But that move by OKC was interesting to me. I'm curious as to where they see next because I'm not gonna lie. I thought Gordon Hayward was cooked.
So you mentioned two teams. I'll say quickly on Utah. Them, I truly don't understand because this is the second season in a row where they've been in play-in contention and have punted on what the NBA has designed as an opportunity for you to get into the playoffs that didn't exist. So even if your team isn't in position to compete for a championship, to punt on a chance to even make the playoffs when you're right there in position, I don't understand that. From OKC standpoint, my first take on the Hayward trade, I didn't quite understand it, but I listened to some, I read some things, and I tried to defend what they did in this way. A lot of folks were saying they need to get a big. A lot of folks were saying they needed to do something, altering, like bring somebody prominent in. If they love their identity right now, want to maximize their identity, um, I can respect them not going to make a move that would alter their identity by bringing in somebody that they'd have to shift what they're doing to fit that person in. You bring in a person like Gordon Hayward that y'all know how I feel about Josh Giddey, just from a basketball standpoint. I've been saying from the beginning of the season they should trade him because he's a liability. Ultimately, he can't shoot. That's not going to work come playoff time. You bring in a player like Gordon Hayward that can at least do the versatile things that Josh Giddey does, move the ball, play that playmaking role, and is at least a respectable enough shooter that when he gets the ball in the corner, the defender is going to run out there versus stand and watch him shoot. And you bring him in, and he's filling that role as a reserve player, not somebody that you're like, I have to invest into, if that makes sense,
That's
right?
an expensive role
And
player, bro. You
well,
30 mil for that?
but he's an expiring contract versus you
I
had
understand.
Bertans for a couple more years, and the players that they gave up weren't playing. Trey Manning lost out in the rotation to Casey Wallace and Isaiah
Yeah,
Joe. That Davis Bertans, I mean, if he's played this season, it's been little smidges of spurts. So they
that's
really
probably the
didn't
biggest
give
contract.
away. Yeah, yeah. So from a tradable contract to potentially get another large contract standpoint, yeah, they gave away that option with Bertans. But if they go to get a player of that mold in the future, they'll have to consolidate some of their talented players anyway. And even with the picks, that's what's going to put them at the front of the line and bringing in somebody when they consolidate some of that depth that they have. So I can see the argument, although to your point, yeah, Gordon Hayward the last few years, I mean, he's been hurt a lot. But maybe getting out of Charlotte, it's just some folks get healthy when they got something they're playing for. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, this is the last year of his contract getting that 30 mil. I think he got like a trade bonus or well, like another mil. But net, I think OKC took on I think another $4 million. Bertans was at 17. Man was about at 5 or 6, and Mitchell was around 7. So yeah, net, they're I mean, they only tacked on another 4 mil. But the good thing about it is his contract expires this year, so they can look to see what else they'll do and they'll free up that cap space. But yeah, I mean, we'll see, man. I don't know if OKC is a championship team right now, and I don't know if Gordon necessarily helps move that needle. But getting rid of those other contracts is helpful. But yeah, if I had to put a possibility, and it seemed like Utah, who's aloof, and it's just in La La Land, just happy to be here. Yeah, I definitely would have. I would at least offer something. And, maybe that happened in the background and nobody knows, but I'd have made a push for a guy like Laurie for sure, because Laurie on that team, I that would be kind of scary. To have somebody as good as Laurie.
If
Gordon, do I think Gordon is defensively he's probably better, than what you would get out of Laurie, but on the upside offensively,
But I also
if I'm
think,
Utah though, Laurie's untouchable though.
yeah, I was gonna say I think they feel like they probably get more Flory,
they could.
yeah, on the offseason if that's a move to be made. Also, OKC's Achilles heel right now is their inexperience in youth. And although Gordon hasn't been playing well recently, he does have experience. So I think he could bring that to the locker room to kind of help guide them in that sense of a kind of like a locker room connector in that
Mhm.
sense. I do agree with you, just off put. I thought that was inexpensive as well too. I was like, okay, they're taking that on. But at the end of the day, like Evan mentioned, it is an expiring contract, so it's something that'll be off their books pretty much soon. Um, and I think it shores them up. It doesn't move the needle too much. It just kind of they're doubling down basically on what they're doing thus far. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. I'm interested to see how far they get this offseason. I'm interested to see, every year there's a team that just takes that leaps, right? And surprises everybody and gets there. So I'm interested to see how much of a leap they're going to take this offseason compared to last year. And, what's the surprise that's going to come out the West. So, and it might be them. So cool. Before we close it out, any closing remarks, you guys, from the deadline or anything that you guys saw that stood out to you before we close it out?
I got a question. I won't hold it against you. Just your gut right now, just because when Lou said he doesn't believe in OKC or something to that extent to make it out.
As a championship
With
team.
yeah, as a championship team. With what has transpired the last couple of weeks, who do you have the most confidence in the West right now?
The team out of Colorado, the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah, I'm right there. It's going to be Denver, then the Clippers for me. Because at the end of the day, Denver, their hiccups has not been nearly as huge as everybody else's missteps that they've had. And also, compared to other teams, as far as movements of players, they haven't had too much turbulence. They
Mm.
haven't brought in or taken anything away that has forced them to redefine or change their system. Their system has stayed pat. So that's an advantage that they have over most of the teams in the West. So
Mhm.
even the Clippers, they've added James Harden, so they've had to tune their system. They've had to
Yeah.
kind of define their style of play and things of that nature. So,
And see, Michael Porter Jr. play increases play in terms of you playing better. That's something I'm like, okay, that's not good for other
he's
teams.
stepping up this year.
That is
He's
not good for
stepping
other
up.
teams. So having guys like Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., these guys really then take their games to the next level on top of what they've already done last year. Is their starting five is going to be very difficult to run with, and then there are other pieces that they have on the bench that are solid that are keeping them going. So yeah, it's gonna be tough to beat them. To me, they're reminiscent of the Chiefs right now. There's everything that they have is been consistent in between from their coaching to the on floor style of play and like Christian mentioned, they give a lot of people matchup issues. And then when Joker's still hitting those shots the way he's hitting those shots, it's tough. It's tough because it's like, what do you do other than you bring Embiid in Philly, of course, but you bring Embiid to the game.
I do think Denver's the right answer. I worry a little bit about the we'll be ready come playoff time because we've done it already attitude. Although they do show up for the big games. Um, I worry a little bit about the we pick when we show up switch
But
type thing.
here's
And
my thing
I'm just
with that
saying,
though.
I think they're the right answer. I just worry about it a little bit.
But I think
And
that's only going to be a game though.
Mm.
Does that make sense? I don't think that's going to be a series. I think that's going to be a similar when the Lakers, right? Remember when the Lakers had their run, and they had that whole, we get there, we've done it already. They get kicked in the mouth for like a game, and they're like, oh, okay, crap, we got to play.
Yeah, they gotta get themselves back into it. Like, okay.
I see that last in the game now, unless they run into a matchup problem. But the team I think that matches up well with them, they're not going to play in the first round. And that's the Clippers, because the Clippers
Mhm.
have defenders who can guard Jamal, who can like you got Kawhi, PG, like so you have defenders who can kind of guard these guys. So they're not going to run into them in the first round. So
I'm
Nah, it's,
interested in what the conversation around Dallas is 4 weeks
mm,
from now.
you
true.
know, he, my The thing with Dallas, as great as they look on paper, they are still, to me, and this may just be the eye test, are a team of individual play still, reminiscent of they're better versions of James Harden teams, is basically what I'm saying. James Harden with Houston and so on. So great. Luka's a phenomenal player. Yes, does affects the game, gets his guys involved, but it still feels very individualistic. So we'll see how far it actually takes them. And I think that's probably one of their biggest issues why they haven't gone over the hump.
Gotcha. All right, guys. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. We appreciate it. As always, you can tune in to our overtime segment on YouTube if you do want additional content. Thank you. We appreciate it. We'll see you guys next time.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the episode, give us a thumbs up. If you really, really enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button and the notification button so you can keep up with us every week. Be sure to follow us on all our socials at the 3on3 Podcast. Hey, got a question, topic you want us to talk about? Hit us up on our email at 3on3podcast@gmail.com. We appreciate y'all. Tune in next week.